Hi there, my name is Jason Eagle, your Natural Health Authority, and today we're going to talk about a couple things and we'll get to why I'm drinking this interesting looking flavored thing and why you might want to consider drinking it too. So first of all, we're going to talk about a supplement called Estroflavone by Premier Research Labs. Estro seems like it has the word estrogen in it. It does, and it seems like, well, that would be just for women. It's not. It's actually for both men and women, and in fact, it's very helpful for men. Um, the ratios between testosterone and estrogen. A lot of men think that they need to take testosterone supplements as they get older, or even testosterone therapy, which can actually be quite dangerous. I've known a lot of people over the years that when they were taking testosterone injections, it started out great and then it went downhill very quickly. Within months to even within the first year, they started to had their testicles shrink. They started to have man boobs. They started to have lots of pains in their body. And one of the reasons why is because if you're trying to bump up a hormone in your body that is low because of the ratios, then you're messing everything up. So what estroflavone does is through a number of different products that are in it, supplements in terms of cordyceps and other adaptogenics, but it has something very important that's what's called DIM or diindolylmethane. And what it does is it helps to draw out the bad estrogens. Actually helps to stop the conversion of testosterone to dihydrotestosterone. But what it does is it helps to pull, like I said, detoxify the body. I use this in women a lot that are having hormonal problems, whether bad periods or they feel like they're starting to go into early menopause and they're not really. And it really helps to regulate that. But in particular, like I said, for men, it helps to change that. And you can actually see men that have low testosterone levels after being on it for 6 to 8 months, they will start to see their testosterone levels come up. But in particular, they start to feel better. They get a lot of less aches and pains, the joints, a lot of aging process is really coming from toxicity, toxic hormones inside your body, and this fight between the hormone balance. And in particular, too, as men get older, they start to, their metabolism changes, and so it's harder for them to maintain muscle. They put on fat easier. So this is very helpful in terms, and then the diindolylmethane is very important in that what we're hearing a lot about in this metabolic syndrome, which is the methylizing, which is part of how our body produces energy. So think about like a gasoline engine. Gasoline goes in and that's what makes the cylinders run, but then exhaust has to come out. And so methylization has a lot to do with the liver and other detox organs in terms of getting waste products out of the body. And the engine suffers not from not getting enough energy in it because of gas, it suffers because it cannot get the waste products out. And in particular, if certain hormones start to become toxic, then what it does is it actually hardens up your connective tissue, it hardens up your joints, it really reduces blood flow, and that's where I'm now going to talk about another couple supplements, which is what's in this drink. So this is some kefir, some unflavored Lifeway kefir, and in it I have mixed some of the Premier Research Labs fermented beets, and also the Premier Research Labs fermented turmeric and ginger. So what gives this mainly the red color, this goes back into when we're talking about muscle. Not just for men and women, but also as we get older. One of the greatest problems with older people falling and breaking a hip, we all think it's the brittle bones. It's actually not the brittle bones. What it is they lose muscle. And they lose muscle in their legs. So grandma and grandpa that get tipsy and fall over, it's not because they're dizzy as much as it's because they've lost so much muscle in the largest muscle group in their body, their legs. Now let's go into muscle. What muscle needs is blood flow. We have blood vessels that go throughout your whole body, and that's where we're talking about cardiovascular, but in particular, the blood vessels, the veins and arteries, Arteries are what brings blood and oxygen and nutrients, and veins are what takes the deoxygenated blood as well as the waste products away from the muscles, and it has to cycle through. Nitric oxide, which is when we bring in beets, what beets do, whether they're fermented or not. Now, the benefit of doing fermented is because beets have a lot of sugar in them, and when you ferment them, that removes the sugar, and beets increase nitric oxide. Increased nitric oxide. So when nitric oxide levels are low, what happens is we don't get as much oxygen into the cells. And then in particular, the veins and arteries, they lose some of their elasticity, and in fact, they even tend to collapse. So this was something that was discovered by a lot of bodybuilders years ago, which is as they're building more muscle, the muscles need bigger veins and arteries, like tubes. They need bigger hoses. So nitric oxide stimulates the blood vessels, both veins and arteries, to get bigger, the walls to get thicker, and the muscles to work better. So it actually moves more blood flow. And so this is the secret to how do I build muscle and maintain muscle. So, and then also nitric oxide, the beets, are very helpful for your blood. They're very helpful to maintain. So the red in the beets also contains lots of iron, but it's an iron that is in a bioavailable form. And so and iron is important for the hemoglobin, meaning the hemoglobin is the red part of the red blood cells, which hold oxygen. So this gives you a double duty of giving you bigger blood vessels, more blood flow, and then stronger red blood cells. And then we go to the turmeric, the fermented turmeric and ginger. So turmeric is giving you the curcuminoids, so it's a very anti-inflammatory. The ginger is also anti-inflammatory. It's also, the ginger in particular is very heat forming in terms of the gut, so that increases blood flow inside the gut. But both of the fermented turmeric, the ginger, and the fermented beets, it's a particular type of fiber. And this fiber, when it gets in your gut, is what's called a prebiotic fiber. There is prebiotics, there's probiotics, and then there's postbiotics. Prebiotics is kind of essentially like, think about probiotics as like this, the little seed that you put into the ground to grow the plant. Well, the seed has to have soil. So the probiotics, the living organisms that live in our gut that do everything for us, they have to have a correct fiber for them to grow in. And so more soluble fiber, more of these insoluble fibers too, that come from these plants, help to be the matrix for what we call probiotics and these organisms to live in your gut, which is, your gut is more of your immune system than any part of your body, and it's more part of your brain, or what you would call your neurologic system. We have more of a gut brain that runs everything, more so than it's actually in your brain and your skull. So when you feed these things, they work for you and they feed you. And it's good to put it in the kefir, because the kefir is also has some fat in it and protein. So it mixes with these things, and often turmeric and turmeric in particular, but turmeric and ginger, they are better utilized when they are combined with a fat and a protein. So when you put it in that matrix together, your body goes, oh, and it takes it up, and then it starts to go. And I will tell you, when you do the beets, so there are lots of supplements that people go, I take them, I don't know if I necessarily feel them. The beets, especially if you do 2 scoops, even 1 scoop, but if you do 2 scoops, within 15 minutes, you go, wow, I really feel it, especially if you're doing it as like a pre-exercise, before you start exercising. It starts to boost blood flow. But even if you're just kind of sitting around, you start to feel like you got more oxygen in your head. Your blood flow starts to work better. It's kind of a pep-me-up, and it really does work. It's something that anybody who takes it kind of goes, I think I noticed that. That's really nice. And if you do it over a period of time, it's one of these things, all of these things, when they're done in a regular basis, they make a huge difference in every person's life, but especially if you're starting to get older or you're malnourished, meaning I don't eat that great of a diet, and what do I do about it? And how do I really help my health? All of these things combine together to help what most people complain about, which is even if you're not getting older, people talk about, I feel sore in the morning. I feel like I'm achy. I feel like I get through parts of the day and I run out of energy. I feel lack of flexibility. I feel like I'm foggy in the head, like I can't remember things. What did I come into this room for? These different types of things. All of these things combine together and treat the whole body. But in particular, these are these things that have been used for the cognitive, for the blood flow, for the immune system, for the digestive system. So, and then even the hormonal system. And all of these things also work together in terms of helping your metabolism, helping you to get a faster, stronger, more thorough metabolism on all sides, which is the energy coming in and then the waste products coming out. And so it's a good recommended thing. So until next time, thank you. Bye.